The most festful time of the year is Christmas or the holidays. But what if you're murdered on Christmas?
Wouldn't be a good time.
No, it would not. I'm Alexander Dartarian.
And I'm Dominic Sykes.
And this is The Dartarian Show. So, murder on Christmas, probably one of the worst days, besides your birthday, to be murdered on.
Yeah, for real. It's supposed to be a happy...
Yeah, happy joyous
time.
occasion. If you celebrate Christmas, if you don't, I mean, if you celebrate Hanukkah,
any
that would
holiday,
just be
really.
horrible,
Yeah.
But I celebrate Christmas. I've always have. If you do not, celebrate your own stuff, man. But it still sucks to get murdered on it.
For real. Either way.
On your biggest holiday of your religion or your feeling or your person's.
Yeah.
And being murdered on it. It just sucks. But we did murder on Halloween, so
Yes.
we're going to do murder on Christmas this time.
Indeed.
Quick shout out real quick. Ashton has made us Christmas merch.
Yep, Christmas merch for the store.
Yeah, so it's coming out a little bit late this year, but you can always buy for next year.
For next year,
Yeah,
next Christmas.
It doesn't have a year on it, so
Yep.
awesome. And yeah, so go ahead, Dom. You're going to read it this time.
Yeah, I am. I'm
Yeah.
going to go over
I did
some
Halloween.
of these murders on Christmas.
All right, man. Let's go.
So first up is a grim gift left under the Christmas tree.
Ooh.
When 37-year-old Patty White offered down-on-her-luck Michelle O'Dowd a place to stay over the festive period, Michelle was delighted at the Christmas spirit being shown to her. But White had an ulterior motive. One involving stealing all of her new housemate's credit cards, killing her, and leaving her among a trashed Christmas tree to look like a bungled burglary. The scene was discovered by Michelle's twin brother Phil, who went to check in on her after she failed to show for work. There, amongst a pile of wrapped Christmas presents, he saw his sister's foot. Patty White had been beaten and strangled. The 67-year-old then left her among the gifts. She would receive a 45-year sentence from a South Carolina judge for her vile crime.
She was 67 and she murdered her?
Yep.
Jesus. Strangulation. It's really hard to strangle somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of strength and
Well, I think
a lot of
I think
determination.
so. Let me correct that real quick. Patty White, the victim, was 67 years
Oh,
old.
okay.
I'm not sure how old. 37-year-old.
male.
No, okay, I'm getting confused here. It's 37-year-old Patty White was the one that died. So I guess the Michelle was 67. I guess.
Jesus. All right.
So the 67-year-old killed the
37-year-old.
37-year-old.
I mean, if you trust somebody and they get you from behind and
You're just trying to help somebody out, show
Yeah.
some Christmas spirit, and they kill you. That's pretty messed up.
yeah, the true Grinch of Christmas.
For real.
Yeah. So what's the next one? Because that was pretty rough.
Yeah. So the next is a couple stab man in face and bash in his skull, then set light to him on Christmas Day in a Kill Bill plot.
A what?
A Kill Bill plot,
Like the movie?
indeed.
Okay.
In Victoria, Australia, it's Christmas Day 2013. But instead of spending the day with his loved ones, William Bill Stevenson pays the ultimate price for keeping poor company, as his so-called friends, meth addicts Danielle Kerr and Darren Lewis, kill him in one of the most violent ways conceivable. Their motives not entirely clear, the pair drove Stevenson out to a bushland and began beating him about the head with a large rock. Kerr then stabbed the man to death while cackling about their Kill Bill plans. The couple then set the car alight and casually walked home. Thankfully, they would both be arrested, charged, and convicted soon afterwards. I'm not sure where the Kill Bill...
Well, his name's Bill.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. That's kind of... they looked at
It's
the car
another
for a while.
problem of trusting somebody that you shouldn't trust, I guess.
When you light a car on fire, right, and you see these in the movies, they explode. They don't really, in real life usually, unless the gas tank's full,
Right.
and it gets really hot. But that when they killed them, they looked. If they're on meth, dude, they looked at that fire for a long time.
Probably.
They watched it burn for a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, drugs right there, man. They make you do some crazy
things,
stuff.
For sure. As soon as I saw the meth, I was like, "Yep, that's probably."
Yep, this explains it all.
Explains it.
Do they? Yeah, they do. Do they do Box Day too?
In Australia?
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
I think that
if they
might
do
be
that.
British. Okay.
But I know that there several the other countries also celebrate Christmas as well. It's not just here in the
Oh yeah,
US.
I know that. I know they celebrate Christmas if they do, but like I didn't know.
I know
if,
they
like,
have a
'cause
Box Day as well.
Box
in
Day,
England.
yeah. Box Day is like either the 25th or the 26th. I can't remember.
Yeah. So next is Marvelous Teen Gang indulge in sickening festive killing spree. There were 4 of them, and they called themselves the Downtown Posse. To the police and courts, though, they were simply Laura Taylor, 16 years old, DeMarcus Smith, 17, Heather Matthews, 20, and Marvelous Keene, 19. Between Christmas Eve and Boxing Day in 1992, the gang went on a murder spree in Dayton, Ohio, that would see 5 innocent people die and 4 seriously injured. Murdered for not liking a gift enough. Led by Keene, the gang's primary motive was robbery, but things soon got out of hand as Marvelous Keene grew paranoid about snitches and effectively turned the holiday season into hunting season. For his central role in the Christmas killings, Keene would go on to become the 10,000th American convict to be executed since the death penalty was reinstated back in 1976, while his cohorts would receive life sentences. So they killed
the leader.
Yeah, they killed 5 people, and 4 were seriously injured. It does not go into, obviously,
who was murdered and everything
or anything like that. But
so it was like the Purge Christmas for them. Dude, that would be a good movie.
Yeah, it would.
Like, I mean, like they have anarchy and all that
Like a
stuff,
new
but
Purge,
can you?
but
Yeah,
during Christmas.
yeah, just be like the Purge.
Let's make it.
Well, we can't. We don't own the Purge rights.
We can go talk to him though and be like, "Hey, you want to let us be a director for that?"
Yeah, no.
All right. So next up is the search for missing Bristol woman turns to hunt for her killer. Joanne Yeats' disappearance a week before Christmas in 2010 made local news in Bristol almost immediately. Soon, the search and appeal broadened, and her whereabouts were of national interest. On Christmas Day, her body was found in the snow 3 miles from her home. The case achieved notoriety for the media's handling of the first suspect, Joanne's eccentric landlord, Christopher Jeffries. Hounded and effectively labeled the murderer without proof, UK tabloids The Mirror and The Sun were later found guilty of contempt of court for their poor coverage. Jeffries was later vindicated when Mrs. Yates' Dutch neighbor Vincent Tabak was arrested and charged with the murder. So they were basically saying that this landlord was the killer, even though he wasn't. And they probably messed his life up pretty bad.
That's the thing about media and everything.
Yeah.
It's
I hate media.
Trial.
They screw with so much stuff.
Yeah, it's nowadays, especially nowadays. It's like if you're charged with murder, you're pretty much guilty before you can get into the courtroom.
And that's not just murder; it's pretty much anything. It stopped being innocent until proven guilty. Here, it's guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
That's just 100% how it is.
Or trial by media.
Yeah.
There's another saying like that. So I can understand his worry, and his life probably did. I mean, a lot of people commit suicide because of that.
So this is probably going to be one of the most famous. This next one I'm going to talk about is going to be one of the most famous ones a lot of people have heard of, I'm sure. It's the infamous child beauty queen, John Benet Ramsey.
Yeah, and we're going to do an episode.
A whole thing on that.
Yeah, next season. So this will be just a cover-all.
So John Benet Ramsey on Christmas Day in 1996 was murdered. Police could never officially ascertain the precise date, and it caused an enormous storm across America and the wider world. 22 years on, and the 6-year-old's callous killer or killers have still not been identified. We're going to talk about that on
absolutely. The whole episode.
True crime buffs the world over have studied and obsessed over the case of the young girl killed, apparently during a botched kidnapping. Countless documentaries, movies, books, and articles point fingers, but the mystery's never been solved. Many people accuse John Benet Ramsey's parents. Some look to her older brother. Accusations of a stalker are rife, and local child molesters have somewhat understandably been treated with suspicion. In fact, few people in Boulder, Colorado have evaded suspicion. Perhaps the eeriest suspect, though, is Bill McReynolds, a local man hired by the Ramseys to play Santa Claus at a large party held at the Rich family's house that year. McReynolds died in 2002, swearing innocence. It's a case that will perhaps never be solved.
Yeah, and we'll get into why he was such a
big
suspicious person. Yeah. And
obviously, if he did do it, he's dead. So
yeah. That case is very hard.
It's going to be one of the hardest ones.
Very difficult one. But it will be next season, Indeed. And it will be an unsolved episode because it's unsolved.
Indeed. All right, so next is the Edinburgh woman stabs neighbor 29 times over Christmas present dispute.
Almost like the Halloween candy dispute.
This 37-year-old Melissa Young gave police when she was arrested for the brutal killing of her next-door neighbor, Alan Williamson, on Christmas Day 2013. Young later claimed diminished responsibilities and that mental health issues were behind the sustained attack. At the time, though, her murder was given as rage due to Williamson's dismissively rejecting her Christmas present of a pair of unisex trainers and a copy of the Sun newspaper's slightly raunchy 2014 calendar. I'd be pretty mad about that gift, too, to be honest with you. Yeah. Young pleaded guilty.
I mean, not to murder anyone.
No, absolutely not. Young pleaded guilty to culpable homicide in 2014 and was sentenced to a minimum 20-year sentence. Since being jailed at the women's prison in Corton Vale in Stirling, she has seriously assaulted 2 female prison officers. She's a very violent individual, apparently.
I think that in England, their life sentence is like 20 years.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think they get actual life imprisonment. I think they
it's like a 20-year sentence.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure because I don't know the laws over there, but right. I don't think that their life sentence is the same as ours.
The U.S., their prison systems, we incarcerate more people than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, it's because we make money off of it.
Yeah, exactly.
If we didn't make money off of it, our jails would be empty.
Yeah, pretty much.
I do have a caveat to that. Want to support the show? There are several ways to do that. One is to give us a 5-star rating to help people find us. Another is to become a patron of our show. We also have a store where we have amazing merch designed by Ashton Green and Coda. Follow the link in the description below and enjoy the episode. Is there any Christmas present that you would receive that you would murder over? Like for getting it?
No. Not in the average Christmas present. Like nothing. There's no bad Christmas present that made me murder. Now, if somebody came to me and their Christmas present was like, "Oh, here is, your best friend or your family member that I killed," then yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But it would have to be nothing.
I don't think it would be an adult. I think if someone came to me and was like, "Here's a dead child," I killed this child like that for you, and I'm like, bro, nah. It's revenge time and stuff. But yeah,
no.
I don't know. It's hard to say because I think that would be probably a really good reason. Family member being murdered by that person and giving them to you and stuff. I think that would be a good reason to kill somebody.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But not like a gift,
Oh no.
Oh man, I wanted an Xbox, but I got a book. I'm gonna go kill somebody.
Now, you see those videos online where they're like, "Oh, we got you a PlayStation 5 and it's a whole bunch of bricks."
Oh, I hate that when they take the.
It's not
everybody
worth.
Does
this. It's not worth killing over. But I would punch you in the freaking face.
It's infuriating when somebody takes a gives a kid an Xbox. They open it up and it's like a Xbox box, and then they're like, "Oh, so excited!" and they open it up and it's like a banana or an orange or some stupid crap like that. And they're like, "Oh, so funny!"
Yeah, and as the kid's freaking crying his eyes out. That's dude. That's abuse.
Yeah, for sure.
That is 100% emotional, mental abuse. Yep. And if you do that, you're an abusive parent.
I had it happen when I was a kid. I'm sure you did. Lots of people have done that as a prank or whatever.
Well, I didn't do that. It was all right. Sorry, I know we're reading
off topic,
but I did have that happen to me. But it was like a treasure map to go find my real present. So that's okay.
Yeah.
So if I opened it and it wasn't like a box, oh my god, I got to see this, oh my god, it's a freaking Xbox,
Yeah.
It was just a box that had a whole bunch of bricks in it, and then it had a letter saying this is where your present was, and I went and it was a PlayStation.
Oh, sweet.
So it was the first year the PlayStation came out.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. But if they gave me the PlayStation box and nothing was in it, that's bullshit and it's abuse.
Unless in the case where they open it up and there's nothing in it, and the real actual thing is like set up somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Like okay, well they have the box because they took it out of the box and
Yeah.
they hooked it up or something.
And
like
my mom
that.
did that all the time.
Yeah, that's okay. That's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still have the
You still have it.
disappointment and the feeling of, oh man, this isn't what I thought it was. But then it's fixed by
Yeah, but
Oh,
those
yeah,
those
I think it's
videos
something.
right there is the reason why when I open something, I always assume that what's on the box isn't what I got. I open it. I
Yeah.
always open the box to
You
see
make
if it's
sure.
actually that.
yeah. That's because
Yeah,
It's-
it's drama.
yeah.
So, but this is say that it wasn't my mother did not do that. It was my sister's idea. So my mom was actually a good parent.
Yeah. All right. So next up is a Christmas rampage.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Ronald Gene Simmons walked into a law firm in Russellville, Arkansas, and shot dead a receptionist who he was infatuated with, but who had spurned his advances. Then he went into the office of an oil company and shot 2 executives, killing one and injuring the other. He then drove to a convenience store and former place of work and shot 2 more people, who would both survive. Finally, he would do the same in the Woodline Motor Freight Company, shooting and wounding a woman. He then sat down and waited for police to arrest him. The spree killing rocked the state, but the murders were merely a bookend to Simmons' evil festive period. 6 days previously, before all of that, he had shot and strangled his wife, 2 sons, and 4 daughters.
Mm.
It doesn't end there. Simmons then sat in the house among the bodies for 4 days, leaving only to visit a local bar. On Boxing Day, 9 more relatives turned up to visit the Simmons family, including Ronald Simmons' grandchildren. He killed all of them. In total, he took 16 people's lives that Christmas. On the 25th of June in 1990, then Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton signed Simmons' execution warrant, and he was killed by lethal injection. That is awful.
Wow. Did he
Wow.
work at all those places?
I guess.
Did he work? He like
Went from job to job.
disgruntled employee like times 3.
This dude was definitely insane. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So not only was he a family annihilator,
Mm-hmm.
he was
Went out and killed
a
some-
mass shooter.
Yep.
So yeah, that I mean, and that was what
Luckily,
year?
Some of the people.
What
that
year
he-
was it?
1990.
No, that was when he was executed. What?
Oh, I'm sorry, 1987.
87.
Yep. So yeah, I like. It's just it's. it's
There's absolutely no reason or like this mass shooting. It's cowardly.
I'm trying to figure out what his motive is, but it seems to me like he was infatuated with that one girl, and in his mind, which is probably messed up, he probably had mental health issues. In his mind, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go get with this girl, but I have to kill my family first. And then he goes to that girl. She spurns his advances. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to kill her too. Fortunately, some of the people that he shot survived
Yeah.
and lived. But yeah, he still killed a lot of people,
16,
including his own family.
Yeah, 16 people.
Yeah.
A lot of there is a condition to where you are in love with the person, but and you like it's a thing. I can't remember what exactly it's called. You think that person's in love with you. You if the person smiles at you, you're like, oh my God, this person's in love with me. And it's a mental condition, and you think you're in love with that person.
Yeah.
And then, like, you go to, like, oh, okay, I'm in love with
It's
you.
like
Like,
obsession.
a lot of times, yeah, it's obsession. It's like, it's weird.
Mhm.
And then it causes people to murder. I mean,
Yeah.
this dude was sick.
Yeah.
Absolutely sick. There was something wrong with him. To even kill your family,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and 4 kids.
Yeah. And, well, 6 technically, because it
6.
was 2 sons and 4 daughters.
Oh, God, man. Jeez. And then it stayed in
And
the
then his
house.
wife. Yeah.
Just staying
For
in the
4
house
days.
with them for 4 days
Yep.
is
Just
bad.
going to a bar, leaving to go to
Yeah.
a bar. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. So
Dude's a piece of shit.
Yeah, for real. Next up is the first and last family photograph the Lawsons would have ever taken. North Carolina tobacco farmer Charles Davis Lawson made his wife Fanny and their 7 children put on their Sunday best for Christmas Day morning
Mhm.
in 1929.
Ooh, 1929.
For they were going into town to have a professional family photograph taken, a rare treat for such a poor family. Later that day, after settling back home, Charles would set about methodically beating and shooting his wife along with the 6 of the 7 children until they were dead. The child spared was Lawson's eldest 16-year-old Arthur, who Charles had sent on a needless errand before his vicious massacre. I don't know why he would choose to just spare his son,
I
but
don't know.
Charles Lawson's motives were never determined.
Maybe
Another
if
family
I
killer.
had to guess, I think that the 16-year-old the reason he sent them away is because maybe he would have been overpowered them.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
He was
might have
sending
had
the
more of a
biggest
fight.
threat out.
Yeah.
So
So how can somebody do that? The
I-
defenseless freaking children. I can never wrap my mind around how people like that.
I don't know.
Can
I
exist
really
in this
don't.
world.
They have no morals. They have no conscience. Any like they know what they're doing is right and wrong,
Yep.
but like they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They have no remorse.
Nope. All right. So next is a murder so sick and twisted it would disgust people even on Halloween. Christy Bemu was just 15 when he was tortured and drowned in a bath by his own sister, Magali, and her twisted boyfriend, Eric Bikubi. It was Christmas Day 2010 when the couple finally killed poor Christy after a sustained and brutal 4-day torture session at their flat in Newham, London. When his body was found, more than 130 separate injuries were counted. The 20-something Congolese couple's excuse? They believe Magali's younger brother was a witch. Eric was ordered to serve at least 30 years in prison, while Magali received a minimum of 25 years for the unimaginably horrific killing. So they tortured this dude for like days and then drowned him
Yeah.
because they thought he was a witch, which in 2010 should not be a thing, but you know, whatever.
It's actually more prominent than you think, man. It's
yeah.
they have people that just practice witchcraft now, and they have the other end of the spectrum, the ones that hunt witches.
Yeah.
There's people out there that actively kill people who
They
like
think are
they're
witches.
usually caught
Yeah.
because they're crazy as shit
Yeah.
and they can't have normal lives.
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, that's crazy, man. If I had to guess, I think drugs were involved.
Right.
Like that's
Probably.
just me.
Yeah.
And like one of them was I don't know, like that's crazy as shit. Like to be 130 different injuries,
Yeah, they tortured him.
and he probably didn't
alive.
die until
Yeah, they drowned him.
the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's just terrible.
horrible way to go, man.
Mhm.
Jesus Christ. Oh
right.
God.
So Stagger Lee and the seasonal showdown. Lee Shelton was a known criminal and a pimp who went by the nickname Stagger Lee. Famous now because of the folk song he would inspire, Shelton wasn't a man to be trifled with, as William Billy Lyons would discover it to his own cost. This murder took place on Christmas night in 1895 in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
I thought this was going to be like a 70s.
Nope. Stagger and Billy were drinking and playing cards together in the Bill Curtis Saloon when, wouldn't you know it, they got into a dispute. Lyons snatched Stagger's Stetson hat and, as you've seen in a lot of westerns, Stagger Lee drew his gun, shot Lyons dead, and the rest is history. I wonder what song that inspired.
I don't know.
Doesn't say.
I know that you don't touch a cowboy's hat.
No. All right, so next up is the Santa Suit Slaughter.
Ooh. I was wondering when we were going to have a
Santa.
Santa killer.
It was Christmas Eve of 2004 in the small city of Covina, just outside of L.A. Parties dominated the neighborhood. 1129 East Knollcrest Drive had around 25 close friends and family enjoying each other's company. At around 11:30 p.m., a knock at the door came. Standing on the other side of the door, Santa Claus. At least that's what the 8-year-old girl who answered the door thought. But it wasn't St. Nick. It was a man called Bruce Jeffrey Pardo, the unstable and violent ex-husband of one of the women at the party. He was holding a 9mm pistol in one hand and a flamethrower in the other. He had a further 3 handguns in his possession. Cruelly and methodically, he went about shooting everyone in his sight.
Including the 8-year-old?
Before setting alight to the house, 9 people would die and 3 would be badly injured. Pardo left, driving to his brother's house some 30 miles away. He had planned to detonate a series of handmade explosives and then make his escape to Canada, but the fire had caused his Santa suit to melt onto him, causing severe third-degree burns, so serves him right. Instead, Pardo decided to put a bullet in his head. So he killed himself.
Damn, dude. Can you imagine just
He
like...
killed 9. It does not say if the 9-year-old was one of the victims, but yeah, he killed
I'm assuming she probably was.
Yeah, he
like
killed
just opening the door, seeing
a
Santa.
flamethrower in one hand and
Yeah.
a pistol on the other, and then 3 more pistols in his possession. And he just basically killed 9 people and then burned the house, and ended up stupidly catching himself on fire and getting 3rd-degree burns and saying, "Fuck
Oh
it,"
yeah, dude. Santa suits are
and
notoriously
shot himself.
flammable.
But that was the last one of our murders of
Yeah.
Christmas.
Can you imagine just opening the door and being like, Santa? And he's like,
Yeah,
and shoots you
God,
right in the
that'd be
face.
awful.
God. Yeah, no, I definitely would think that there would be a killer Santa. As many movies as we've
Yeah,
seen
for sure.
where
Santa Claus
Santa is a killer.
Yeah, Black
Or-
Christmas.
yeah.
and, Santa sleighs.
Yeah,
and-
Santa sleighs and all that stuff. Yeah. So that was Murder on Christmas. We appreciate you guys listening. Happy
We-
holidays from the Dartarian Show.
We hope you enjoy it and have a very happy holiday
Yeah, we'll be
season.
back after the new year for an unsolved episode.
Thanks for listening.
But